The galaxy of Warhammer 40k is a place of eternal war, a grim stage where countless factions vie for power, survival, and dominance. At its heart, the Imperium of Man stands as a bulwark against the encroaching horrors of the universe. Among its most powerful defenders are the Space Marines, the Adeptus Astartes, genetically engineered superhumans designed to be the ultimate warriors. Each chapter of these elite soldiers is a reflection of the Emperor's design, imbued with unique traditions, combat philosophies, and genetic traits that make them distinct. For millennia, the question of which Space Marine chapter stands as the strongest has been a subject of speculation, admiration, and rivalry. It is not merely a matter of physical power or battlefield prowess. Strength can be measured in loyalty, adaptability, strategic brilliance, or the sheer weight of their contributions to the Imperium's survival. Yet the answer remains elusive, for each chapter is a product of its history, its purpose, and the trials it has endured in the name of humanity. The legends surrounding the Space Marine chapters are as vast as the galaxy itself. From the noble Ultramarines and their embodiment of Codex ideals to the savage ferocity of the Space Wolves and the relentless endurance of the Imperial Fists, every chapter brings its strengths to the battlefield. Yet, strength in Warhammer 40k is seldom absolute. It is contextual, shaped by the environment, the opponent, and the moment. This exploration is not merely an exercise in fan speculation, but a journey into the heart of the Imperium's martial might. It is a tale of loyalty, sacrifice, and the eternal struggle to uphold humanity's light in the darkest of times. To understand which chapter might hold the title of the strongest, we must journey through their legacies, unravel their triumphs and failures, and weigh their unique attributes against the measure of the galaxy's unending war. In this unforgiving universe, where the weak perish and the strong endure, strength is not always a matter of who strikes hardest. It is the sum of resilience, ingenuity, and the capacity to inspire others in the face of impossible odds. The strongest chapter may not always be the most obvious. It may be the one that holds the Imperium together when all else seems lost. Before delving into the specifics of the chapters themselves, we must first set the stage for this investigation. The question of supremacy touches not only on the battlefield, but also on the cultural, spiritual, and strategic domains that define the Astartes. It is a question that spans thousands of years of history and countless battles, requiring us to look beyond the surface and into the heart of what it truly means to be strong in the grim darkness of the far future. Thus, we embark on this odyssey to determine which Space Marine chapter reigns supreme. To do so, we will examine their histories, heroes, and doctrines, uncovering the essence of their might and the secrets of their survival in a galaxy that knows no peace. The answer lies not in a single battle or moment, but in the legacy that each chapter leaves behind. The story begins with the key players, those chapters whose names are etched into the annals of history and whose deeds have shaped the Imperium's fate. The tapestry of Space Marine chapters is vast, with each representing a unique facet of the Emperor's vision for humanity's defense. These chapters are not mere military units. They are living embodiments of specific philosophies, traditions, and genetic lineages, all of which contribute to the rich diversity of the Adeptus Astartes. Below are some of the key participants in this grand narrative, each playing a vital role in the Imperium's unending war against its enemies. The Ultramarines are often regarded as the standard by which all other chapters are measured. They exemplify discipline, tactical mastery, and adherence to established doctrine. Based in the realm of Ultramar, their influence extends far beyond their home worlds, serving as a stabilizing force within the Imperium. Their balance of versatility and reliability makes them central figures in any discussion of Astartes' strength. The Space Wolves are a chapter of fierce individuality and primal ferocity. Known for their unorthodox methods and deep connection to their cultural heritage, they are unmatched in their ability to adapt to unconventional warfare. Their strength lies in their unpredictability and sheer feral aggression, traits that set them apart from their more structured counterparts. The Imperial Fists embody resilience and unyielding determination. Masters of siegecraft and defensive warfare, they are the first choice when the Imperium requires a stalwart defense. Their commitment to perfection and their ability to endure the harshest conditions make them one of the most dependable forces in the galaxy. The Blood Angels are revered for their artistry in battle, combining elegance with deadly precision. Their mastery of aerial combat and unmatched close-quarters prowess make them a formidable presence on any battlefield. Yet their beauty in war is accompanied by a darker struggle that adds complexity to their legacy. The Dark Angels are shrouded in mystery and operate with a singular focus that often sets them apart from other chapters. Their unwavering dedication to their own objectives and the meticulous precision with which they approach warfare make them a force to be reckoned with. Their motivations are often opaque, but their efficiency cannot be denied. The Salamanders are known for their humanity and compassion, a rarity in the unforgiving galaxy of the 41st millennium. They prioritize the protection of human lives, often placing themselves in harm's way to safeguard the Imperium's citizens. Their emphasis on craftsmanship and their bond with the worlds they defend highlight their unique approach to their duties. The White Scars are defined by their speed and mobility, favoring rapid strikes and lightning-fast maneuvers over prolonged engagements. Their tactics emphasize adaptability and precision, making them a chapter that thrives in dynamic, unpredictable environments. The Iron Hands see strength as the ultimate virtue, constantly striving to replace weakness with machine efficiency. Their reliance on technology and their belief in its superiority make them one of the most distinct chapters, often pursuing their goals with cold, calculated logic. The Raven Guard are masters of stealth and subterfuge, excelling in operations that require subtlety and precision. Their ability to strike from the shadows and disappear before the enemy can respond makes them an invaluable asset in asymmetric warfare. The Black Templars are relentless crusaders, driven by an unshakable faith and an unyielding commitment to their vows. They embody the spiritual zeal of the Imperium, often leading prolonged campaigns that push the limits of endurance and resolve. The Deathwatch is not a chapter in the traditional sense, but rather a collection of warriors drawn from many others. Tasked with confronting the Xenos threats that plague the galaxy, they represent the combined expertise of countless chapters, wielding their diverse skills with unparalleled precision. The Grey Knights stand apart as the Imperium's most secretive defenders, sworn to combat the malevolent forces of the Warp. Their unbreakable will and unparalleled psychic abilities make them uniquely suited for their grim task. Each of these chapters plays a critical role in the Imperium's survival. Together, they form a tapestry of strength, diversity, and purpose that ensures humanity's light endures, even in the darkest of times. Their unique characteristics and approaches to war are a testament to the adaptability and resilience of the Adeptus Astartes. Yet, the question of which chapter is the strongest remains an open debate, for strength in the grim darkness of the far future is as varied as the chapters themselves. In the grim darkness of the galaxy, the question of which Space Marine chapter is the strongest is not born from idle curiosity or the need for recognition. It stems from the harsh realities of a universe perpetually at war. The Imperium of Man faces threats on all fronts: alien invasions, heretical uprisings, demonic incursions, and internal strife. The Space Marines, as humanity's most elite defenders, are often the last line of defense against total annihilation. The question of their strength is not academic. It is a matter of survival. The galaxy's unrelenting conflicts have exposed the vast differences between the chapters. Each is tailored to face specific challenges, but the unpredictable nature of warfare often forces them into scenarios beyond their original design. Over time, comparisons arose naturally, driven by the need to understand which chapter could excel in the most demanding situations. While loyalty to the Emperor and the Imperium unites the Space Marines, the realities of their isolated operations and the diversity of their approaches have fostered rivalries, both implicit and explicit. These rivalries are not merely about pride. They reflect the Imperium's pragmatic need to allocate resources effectively. When a planetary system teeters on the brink of collapse, knowing which chapter is best suited to the task can mean the difference between salvation and annihilation. The Imperium's administrators and military commanders must evaluate the strengths of the Adeptus Astartes to deploy them with maximum efficiency. This evaluation has inevitably fueled debates about which chapter possesses the most versatile and effective combat capabilities. Another factor lies in the history of humanity's wars against overwhelming odds. From ancient battles against Xenos to more recent struggles against the forces of chaos, the ability to adapt and overcome has often defined victory. The emergence of particularly challenging foes or catastrophic events has led to moments where the strengths and weaknesses of various chapters were laid bare for all to see. These events created a legacy of comparison, as those who survived sought to understand which chapters were most instrumental in securing victory. The question also carries a psychological dimension. Within the Imperium, the Space Marines are more than warriors. They are symbols of hope, strength, and divine purpose. Humanity, fractured and besieged, looks to these superhuman figures as embodiments of the Emperor's will. Determining the strongest chapter becomes a means of finding assurance in the Imperium's continued survival. If one chapter can be identified as a pinnacle of strength, it provides a beacon of hope amid the despair. Furthermore, the Imperium's decentralized nature contributes to the need for this question to be answered. The Imperium spans countless star systems, each with its own unique challenges. The chapters, often operating independently, must frequently prove their worth not just to the Imperium at large, but also to local planetary governors and military commanders. In many cases, decisions about which chapter to call upon hinge on reputation, which in turn fuels the ongoing debate about strength. My complicating matters is the inherent secrecy of the Adeptus Astartes. Chapters are often reluctant to reveal the full extent of their capabilities, either to preserve their mystique or to conceal weaknesses. This lack of transparency has made it difficult to form a definitive answer, leaving room for speculation and conjecture. As a result, the question of strength persists, driven by necessity and amplified by the cultural significance of the Space Marines. The galaxy itself has also played a role in raising this question. The Imperium is no stranger to periods of relative peace, but such moments are fleeting. In times of prolonged war, the need to measure and compare the chapters grows acute. Cataclysmic events such as planetary invasions or large-scale crusades force the Imperium to confront its own vulnerabilities. In these moments, the strongest chapters often rise to the forefront, their deeds immortalized in history, while others fade into obscurity. Ultimately, the need to determine the strongest Space Marine chapter is a reflection of the Imperium's survival instinct. In a galaxy where resources are finite and the stakes are nothing less than the survival of humanity, identifying the most capable defenders is both a practical necessity and a cultural imperative. The debate is not one of vanity but of survival, born from the endless need to ensure that the Imperium's best and brightest are prepared to face the challenges of an unforgiving universe. The comparison of Space Marine chapters has unfolded over countless wars and campaigns, as their individual strengths and weaknesses have been revealed through their actions. Each chapter carries distinct characteristics, both advantages and limitations, shaped by their origins, genetic traits, and combat doctrines. These differences have fueled the ongoing debate, as no chapter is without both moments of brilliance and vulnerabilities. The Ultramarines, often held as the benchmark, excel in adaptability and discipline. Their adherence to a structured codex enables them to respond to a wide variety of battlefield scenarios. However, this rigid adherence can occasionally limit their creativity, making them predictable in situations that demand unconventional strategies. The Space Wolves stand in stark contrast, embracing unpredictability and primal aggression. Their ferocity in battle allows them to overwhelm opponents who rely on order and precision. Yet, their preference for direct, instinct-driven tactics can leave them exposed in prolonged engagements, requiring patience and calculated strategy. The Imperial Fists represent unshakable endurance, known for their ability to hold the line under the most challenging conditions. Their expertise in fortifications and defensive warfare makes them invaluable during sieges. However, their unwavering focus on resilience sometimes leads to a lack of mobility, limiting their effectiveness in fast-moving conflicts. The Blood Angels bring a striking combination of elegance and brutality. Their aerial mastery and close combat prowess make them devastating on the battlefield. Despite their strengths, they are haunted by internal struggles that can occasionally undermine their effectiveness, especially in prolonged campaigns where control and focus are paramount. The Dark Angels are methodical and secretive, operating with precision and detachment. Their ability to maintain focus on long-term objectives sets them apart from more reactionary chapters. Yet their secrecy can create barriers to effective coordination, as they often withhold vital information even from their allies. The Salamanders embody compassion and craftsmanship, placing great emphasis on protecting human lives and utilizing masterfully forged weapons. This humanitarian approach makes them beloved defenders, though it can lead to prioritizing civilians over strategic objectives, occasionally putting broader campaigns at risk. The White Scars are unmatched in speed and mobility, excelling in hit-and-run tactics that allow them to outmaneuver slower opponents. Their reliance on swift strikes, however, can be a disadvantage in protracted battles or when faced with enemies capable of countering their mobility. The Iron Hands focus on strength through technological augmentation, emphasizing logic and efficiency. Their mechanical enhancements and disdain for weakness make them formidable warriors. Yet this same reliance on technology and detachment from emotion can alienate allies and lead to a lack of flexibility in unpredictable situations. The Raven Guard specialize in stealth and precision, often striking from the shadows before disappearing into obscurity. Their ability to disrupt enemy operations with surgical precision is unmatched. However, their preference for subtlety can be a liability in large-scale conflicts requiring visible and overwhelming force. The Black Templars bring unrelenting zeal and unshakable conviction to the battlefield. Their faith and determination drive them to continue crusades long after others would falter. This dedication, while inspiring, can sometimes result in inflexible behavior, as their singular focus on combat can overshadow strategic adaptability. The Deathwatch, a coalition of elite warriors drawn from various chapters, excel in their ability to confront Xenos threats. Their diverse skill set allows them to adapt to any situation, but their lack of a unified identity or long-term cohesion can limit their effectiveness in campaigns requiring seamless coordination. The Grey Knights are unparalleled in their purity and psychic prowess, standing as humanity's greatest weapon against demonic incursions. Their highly specialized nature, however, means they are less suited for conventional warfare, and their secrecy often limits their accessibility when they are needed most. Across the galaxy, the strengths and weaknesses of these chapters have played out in countless battles, each adding to the debate over which is truly the strongest. While one chapter may excel in a particular aspect of war, such as defense, speed, or close combat, none can claim superiority in all areas. The diversity of the Adeptus Astartes is their collective strength, ensuring that the Imperium has a force to counter any threat. Yet, this very diversity also ensures that the question of which chapter is the strongest will remain open, a topic of endless debate fueled by the victories and failures of these legendary warriors. The critical moment in determining the strongest Space Marine chapter came not from any single battle or campaign, but through a calculated evaluation by the Imperium's highest strategic councils. Faced with the galaxy's escalating threats and the ever-dwindling resources available to counter them, the Imperium sought to establish a clear understanding of which chapter could be relied upon to address the most critical missions. This decision was not born of pride or rivalry, but of necessity, as the survival of humanity hinged on deploying its forces with precision and effectiveness. A comprehensive assessment was undertaken, combining reports from countless campaigns, data from the Departamento Munitorum, and analyses from the Ordo Militaris. The evaluation considered various criteria: battlefield adaptability, technological innovation, leadership effectiveness, resilience under prolonged pressure, and the ability to inspire allied forces. This process was not conducted in public forums or with the chapter's direct involvement. Instead, it was handled in the utmost secrecy to avoid inflaming rivalries or weakening the unity of the Adeptus Astartes. The findings pointed to one chapter that, while not the most specialized in any single area, consistently demonstrated the highest overall effectiveness across all metrics: the Ultramarines. Their unparalleled ability to adapt to a wide variety of scenarios, combined with their adherence to doctrine and exceptional organizational structure, placed them at the pinnacle of the Imperium's defenders. Their stronghold in Ultramar, a beacon of stability and prosperity, served as a testament to their strategic vision and ability to maintain order amidst chaos. This decision, while logical, was not without controversy. Many within the Imperium questioned whether the Ultramarines' success was due to their inherent strength or their position as the archetype for the Codex Astartes. Critics argued that chapters like the Space Wolves or the Blood Angels brought unique advantages that were overlooked in favor of a more generalized standard. However, the determination was not about specialization, but consistency, the ability to perform reliably and effectively across all potential theaters of war. The decision to elevate the Ultramarines as the strongest chapter based on these criteria did not diminish the contributions of others. It acknowledged that the Imperium's survival relied on the unique strengths of every chapter. While the Ultramarines may have been deemed the most broadly capable, chapters like the Salamanders, with their compassion, or the White Scars, with their speed, remained irreplaceable in their respective roles. This decision also reflected the Imperium's broader philosophy of pragmatism. In a galaxy where no battle is ever fought under ideal circumstances, the chapter that could consistently adapt to changing conditions and deliver results under any scenario was deemed the most valuable. The Ultramarines, with their balance of tactical flexibility and unwavering discipline, represented this ideal. It was not their victories alone that earned them this title, but their ability to sustain those victories and ensure the stability of the Imperium. The ramifications of this decision were profound. It reinforced the importance of the Codex Astartes as the guiding doctrine for all Space Marine chapters, further solidifying the Ultramarines' influence within the Imperium. At the same time, it spurred other chapters to reevaluate their own doctrines and approaches, driving innovation and adaptation across the Adeptus Astartes as a whole. While the designation of the Ultramarines as the strongest chapter may have been met with mixed reactions, it ultimately served to strengthen the Imperium's overall war effort. This key moment did not settle the debate entirely. The galaxy is ever-changing, and the emergence of new threats or unforeseen circumstances could shift the balance of power. Yet, for the time being, the Imperium's choice was clear. The Ultramarines stood as the strongest chapter, not because they excelled in any one area, but because they embodied the ideal of versatility and dependability in a universe where both are in short supply. The designation of a Space Marine chapter as the strongest in the galaxy has significant and far-reaching implications for the balance of power and the overall stability of the Imperium. This recognition shapes not only the way the Imperium allocates its military resources, but also the perception of humanity's strength among its enemies and allies. The repercussions of this determination ripple across countless star systems, influencing decisions at every level of the Imperium's hierarchy. For the Imperium's High Command, the identification of the strongest chapter provides a clear standard for military deployment in critical scenarios. The chapter in question becomes the preferred choice for the most complex and dangerous assignments, such as crusades into hostile territory, the defense of vital strongholds, and interventions in large-scale conflicts threatening the Imperium's stability. Their reliability under pressure ensures that they are often entrusted with missions where failure is not an option. This prioritization also reduces uncertainty among military planners, who can rely on the chapter's proven track record to deliver results. On a strategic level, this recognition influences the redistribution of resources and reinforcements within the Imperium. A chapter deemed the strongest often becomes the recipient of better equipment, more frequent resupply runs, and greater support from the Mechanicus and Administratum. This concentration of resources creates a feedback loop that further enhances the chapter's capabilities. However, it can also generate friction with other chapters, who may perceive this allocation as favoritism, especially if they believe their own efforts are underappreciated. The psychological impact on humanity is equally profound. The strongest chapter becomes a symbol of hope, embodying the Emperor's vision of strength and resilience. Their victories are celebrated across the Imperium, inspiring faith and bolstering morale among its citizens. The mere presence of such a chapter on a battlefield can turn the tide of a campaign, not only through their combat prowess, but also through the unshakable belief they instill in allied forces. Their example serves as a reminder that, despite the galaxy's horrors, humanity possesses defenders capable of standing against any foe. For the enemies of the Imperium, the identification of the strongest chapter adds an element of intimidation. The chapter's reputation becomes a psychological weapon, spreading fear among those who would challenge the Imperium's dominance. Xenos factions, chaos warbands, and heretical uprisings are all forced to reconsider their strategies, knowing that they may face an opponent with unparalleled strength and adaptability. This reputation can deter potential conflicts before they begin, saving countless lives and resources. However, this recognition also has potential drawbacks. The chapter in question becomes a target for adversaries seeking to undermine the Imperium's unity and morale. Enemies may focus their efforts on discrediting or defeating this chapter to prove that even the strongest can fall. This increased scrutiny can lead to devastating battles where the stakes are higher than ever. While the chapter's strength is undeniable, even they are not invincible, and a well-coordinated assault can exploit their vulnerabilities. The ripple effects extend to other Space Marine chapters, reshaping their roles within the Imperium. Chapters that once operated independently may find themselves collaborating more frequently with the strongest chapter, either in support roles or as part of coordinated campaigns. This collaboration can foster unity among the Adeptus Astartes, but it can also create tension if other chapters feel overshadowed or undervalued. In some cases, it may even lead to rivalries, as chapters strive to prove their own worth and challenge the established hierarchy. In the wider Imperium, the influence of the strongest chapter can be seen in the way planetary governors and military commanders respond to crises. Their presence in a war zone often results in increased cooperation and a greater willingness to follow directives, knowing that these warriors represent the pinnacle of the Emperor's will. This trust in their leadership streamlines decision-making and enhances the overall effectiveness of Imperial forces. Ultimately, the impact of designating the strongest Space Marine chapter is a double-edged sword. While it provides a clear focal point for the Imperium's military strategy and inspires confidence among its citizens, it also creates new challenges and responsibilities. The chapter must bear the weight of expectation, knowing that their actions will be scrutinized and that their failures, however rare, could have devastating consequences. This recognition reshapes their role in the galaxy, elevating them to a position of unparalleled importance and ensuring that their legacy will endure in the annals of Imperial history. The question of which Space Marine chapter is the strongest is not only rooted in their battlefield performance, but also in the unique characteristics that set them apart. These aspects have fueled countless debates within the fan community as they delve into what makes each chapter special and how these traits influence their effectiveness. Among the most intriguing elements are the genetic legacies, cultural traditions, and strategic doctrines that define the chapters, each offering insights into their strengths and limitations. One of the most discussed aspects is the role of genetic lineage in shaping a chapter's identity and capabilities. Each chapter inherits distinct traits from its gene seed, a genetic blueprint that determines much of its physical and mental characteristics. These traits can manifest as remarkable strengths, such as enhanced resilience or unparalleled combat instincts, but they can also lead to flaws that challenge a chapter's cohesion or stability. The debates often center around whether these genetic differences provide a measurable advantage in determining a chapter's overall strength, or if they merely highlight their specialization. The role of culture and tradition is another point of fascination. Space Marine chapters are not monolithic entities. They are deeply influenced by the worlds they recruit from and the values they hold sacred. For instance, the emphasis on honor, courage, and martial discipline differs widely between chapters, shaping how they approach war and how they interact with the Imperium. This cultural diversity enriches the narrative as fans explore how these traditions impact a chapter's adaptability and long-term viability. The topic of doctrine and strategy often comes to the forefront. Some chapters adhere rigidly to established military doctrines, while others embrace flexibility and innovation. This divergence has led to spirited discussions about which approach is superior. For example, chapters that strictly follow established strategies are often seen as reliable and predictable, while those that adopt unorthodox tactics can surprise enemies but may risk overextending themselves. Fans frequently debate whether the strongest chapter is the one that balances discipline with adaptability or the one that excels in a specific area. Another fascinating element is the mystique surrounding the chapter's recruitment practices. The methods by which new Space Marines are chosen and trained vary greatly, reflecting the unique challenges and philosophies of each chapter. These differences raise questions about how a chapter's recruitment pool affects its strength and whether those who impose harsher standards produce superior warriors. Discussions often delve into the balance between quantity and quality, as some chapters maintain large numbers of recruits, while others focus on cultivating a smaller but more elite force. The concept of specialization versus generalization also generates significant discussion. Some chapters are renowned for excelling in specific areas, such as siege warfare, stealth operations, or close-quarters combat, while others are praised for their ability to perform well across a broad range of scenarios. The strongest chapter is often seen as the one that can adapt to any situation, but the value of extreme specialization cannot be ignored. This dichotomy sparks debates about whether versatility should be prioritized over mastery in a particular field. The interplay between a chapter's past and its present is another topic that captures the imagination of fans. Chapters with long and storied histories often carry the weight of tradition, which can be both a source of inspiration and a burden. Their historical achievements are used to argue for their strength, while their failures are scrutinized as evidence of their limitations. Meanwhile, younger chapters may be viewed as less established but more dynamic, unburdened by the expectations of the past. The enduring secrecy of certain chapters adds another layer of intrigue to these discussions. Chapters like the Dark Angels are famously reticent about their true motives and internal workings, which has led to endless speculation about whether their strength is understated or deliberately concealed. This aura of mystery fuels fan theories about hidden capabilities or secret agendas that could tip the scales in their favor. Finally, the role of external perception cannot be overlooked. The way chapters are viewed by the Imperium, other factions, and even their enemies influences how they are valued and judged. A chapter that commands widespread respect may be seen as stronger simply because of its ability to inspire loyalty and fear. Fans often debate whether public perception aligns with reality or if some chapters' reputations outstrip their actual capabilities. These unique aspects highlight why the question of the strongest Space Marine chapter is so compelling. It is not simply a matter of comparing battlefield statistics, but a rich tapestry of genetics, culture, strategy, history, and perception. This complexity ensures that the debate remains vibrant and multifaceted, offering endless opportunities for discussion and exploration. Among the most powerful warriors of the Space Marine chapters deemed the strongest, a few individuals stand out as paragons of their chapter's values, skills, and purpose. These figures are not merely exceptional in combat, but also embody the philosophies and ideals that define their chapters. Their actions have shaped not only the fate of their respective chapters, but also the trajectory of entire campaigns and the Imperium itself. By examining these legendary figures, we gain deeper insight into what makes these chapters truly formidable. One of the most celebrated figures of the Ultramarines is Marneus Calgar, whose reputation is built on both his strategic brilliance and his ability to inspire those around him. Calgar's leadership exemplifies the chapter's emphasis on discipline and tactical acumen. His approach to warfare blends meticulous planning with the flexibility to adapt to evolving situations, a quality that has earned him victory in countless engagements. Despite his genius, Calgar's reliance on the Codex Astartes has sometimes been criticized as overly rigid, especially in scenarios demanding unconventional solutions. However, his ability to unite disparate forces under a common purpose remains unmatched, solidifying his legacy as one of the Imperium's greatest commanders. From the Blood Angels, Dante is a figure of enduring resilience and unmatched charisma. As chapter master, his centuries-long service has made him a living symbol of hope and determination. Dante's mastery of aerial combat and his unparalleled experience in the art of war have earned him the respect of allies and adversaries alike. However, his long life is both a strength and a burden, as he carries the weight of countless battles and the memories of those lost under his command. His ability to maintain focus and purpose despite this emotional toll demonstrates his exceptional resolve, making him an icon not only to his chapter, but to the Imperium as a whole. Ragnar Blackmane of the Space Wolves represents the raw ferocity and individualism that define his chapter. Known for his fearlessness and unyielding determination, Ragnar has risen through the ranks due to his unrelenting drive and exceptional combat skills. His ability to inspire his warriors through his deeds, rather than words, has made him a natural leader on the battlefield. However, his impulsive nature and tendency to act on instinct rather than strategy can sometimes lead to unnecessary risks. Despite these flaws, Ragnar's sheer tenacity and willingness to face impossible odds have cemented his place among the greatest warriors of the Adeptus Astartes. The Imperial Fists boast a champion in Lysander, a warrior whose resilience and unshakable determination embody his chapter's strengths. Lysander is a master of defensive warfare, often serving as the linchpin in battles where the odds are heavily stacked against the Imperium. His ability to inspire unwavering loyalty and courage in his fellow Space Marines is a testament to his leadership. Yet, his staunch adherence to traditional methods can make him resistant to change, a trait that occasionally places him at odds with more flexible allies. Even so, his record of victories in dire circumstances underscores his value to the chapter and the Imperium. The Dark Angel's enigmatic Samael is a figure of precision and focus, embodying the chapter's methodical approach to warfare. As a master of the Raven Wing, Samael's expertise in fast attack tactics and reconnaissance is unparalleled. His ability to strike swiftly and decisively has been instrumental in countless operations. However, his intense dedication to his chapter's secretive objectives can create friction with others who view his priorities as divergent from the Imperium's broader goals. Despite this, his results speak for themselves, and his skill in executing high-stakes missions has earned him widespread respect. Vulcan. Hastan of the Salamanders is a warrior whose compassion and craftsmanship reflect the unique ethos of his chapter. Vulcan's mastery in the forge and his ability to wield relic weapons with unparalleled skill make him a force to be reckoned with. His focus on protecting the lives of Imperial citizens sets him apart, emphasizing the humanity often overlooked in the grim darkness of the 41st millennium. While his empathetic approach may be viewed as a weakness by some, it has fostered an enduring bond between the Salamanders and the people they defend, ensuring their legacy as champions of humanity. These figures, each with their unique qualities and challenges, highlight the diversity and strength of the Adeptus Astartes. Their ability to rise above their limitations and lead their chapters in the face of overwhelming adversity exemplifies why they are celebrated as legends. They are more than warriors. They are symbols of the Imperium's enduring spirit, and their stories continue to inspire those who fight to preserve humanity in a galaxy consumed by war. The debate over which Space Marine chapter is the strongest in the galaxy is riddled with unanswered questions and conflicting theories, keeping the topic alive in both the Imperium and fan discussions. The complexity of the topic is compounded by the inherent secrecy of the Adeptus Astartes, the varied nature of warfare across the galaxy, and the subjective criteria used to evaluate strength. These factors fuel ongoing debates, raising questions that may never be fully resolved. One of the most intriguing discussions revolves around the validity of comparing chapters that specialize in vastly different forms of warfare. Is it reasonable to compare a chapter that excels in defensive sieges, such as the Imperial Fists, to one like the White Scars, whose strength lies in mobility and hit-and-run tactics? Critics argue that such comparisons are flawed because they fail to account for context. Each chapter's strength is tied to specific circumstances, and declaring one superior across all scenarios ignores the nuanced reality of warfare in the galaxy. Another contentious issue is the influence of external support and resources on a chapter's perceived strength. For example, chapters like the Ultramarines, with access to the robust infrastructure of Ultramar, benefit from unparalleled logistical support. This advantage raises questions about whether their success is a result of intrinsic strength or external factors that other chapters do not enjoy. Fans often debate whether a chapter with fewer resources but similar achievements, such as the Salamanders, demonstrates a purer form of strength. The role of leadership in determining a chapter's strength is another point of contention. While legendary figures like Dante and Marneus Calgar undeniably contribute to their chapter's success, their impact also raises questions about continuity. Would a chapter still be considered the strongest if stripped of its iconic leader? This debate touches on the balance between individual heroism and the collective strength of a chapter. It also raises the question of how well a chapter can adapt to leadership transitions, a critical factor in their long-term viability. A highly speculative area of discussion is the potential for undiscovered or unacknowledged chapters to claim the title of the strongest. With the Imperium's vast scale and the secretive nature of its organizations, it is entirely possible that a chapter operating in isolation or under classified conditions might rival or surpass the known contenders. The existence of such chapters, while unproven, remains a tantalizing possibility that fuels endless fan theories. The genetic stability of a chapter's gene seed is another topic that sparks debate. Some argue that a chapter with fewer genetic flaws, such as the Ultramarines, has an inherent advantage in maintaining long-term effectiveness. Others counter that chapters with significant flaws, like the Blood Angels and their internal struggles, demonstrate strength through their ability to overcome these challenges. This discussion raises deeper questions about whether strength is defined by perfection or by resilience in the face of imperfection. The criteria for evaluating strength itself is a fundamental unresolved question. Is the strongest chapter the one that wins the most battles, the one that contributes the most to the Imperium's survival, or the one that inspires the greatest loyalty and fear? Different perspectives yield different answers, and the lack of a universally accepted standard ensures that the debate remains open-ended. This ambiguity also reflects the complexity of the galaxy, where no single definition of strength can capture the full scope of a chapter's role and impact. The involvement of outside influences in shaping a chapter's legacy also adds to the controversy. For example, the Mechanicus provides technological support that can elevate a chapter's capabilities. But this dependence on external allies raises questions about whether such strength is truly intrinsic. Similarly, the political alliances and favor of high-ranking Imperial officials can skew perceptions of a chapter's effectiveness, leading some to question whether certain chapters are overrepresented in discussions of strength due to their prominence rather than their actual performance. Finally, the question of whether a chapter's history or its present actions carry more weight in determining strength remains unresolved. Chapters with ancient storied legacies often command respect, but newer chapters or those undergoing significant changes might demonstrate strengths that better align with the current state of the galaxy. This tension between tradition and innovation complicates efforts to reach a definitive conclusion. These unresolved questions and theories ensure that the debate over the strongest Space Marine chapter remains vibrant and multifaceted. The lack of clear answers is not a weakness of the discussion, but a testament to the richness of the topic, reflecting the complexity of the galaxy and the diverse ways in which strength can manifest. The long-term implications of designating the strongest Space Marine chapter ripple through the galaxy in ways both subtle and profound. While the current leaders in strength maintain their positions due to a combination of factors, the ever-changing nature of the galaxy ensures that the balance of power among the chapters is never static. Over time, shifts in leadership, evolving threats, technological advancements, and unforeseen events could alter the hierarchy, potentially allowing other chapters to rise in prominence. One potential factor in these shifts is the changing nature of warfare in the galaxy. As new threats emerge, such as increasingly adaptive xenospecies, unpredictable warp phenomena, or internal strife within the Imperium, chapters that specialize in handling these challenges may find themselves in higher demand. For example, the adaptability of the White Scars or the technological innovation of the Iron Hands could position them as the most effective chapters in scenarios where traditional doctrines fail. This would not only enhance their reputation, but could also lead to increased resources and influence, further strengthening their position. Another critical variable is the stability of leadership within each chapter. The impact of iconic leaders on a chapter's strength cannot be overstated, but their eventual loss or replacement could significantly alter a chapter's trajectory. Chapters like the Blood Angels, heavily influenced by Dante's leadership, might face a period of instability as they transition to new command. In contrast, chapters that have cultivated a strong organizational structure, independent of any single individual, such as the Ultramarines, may be better positioned to maintain their dominance. Technological innovation also has the potential to shift the balance of power. Chapters that foster strong relationships with the Mechanicus or possess exceptional forges of their own, like the Salamanders, could gain significant advantages through access to superior weaponry, armor, and vehicles. Conversely, chapters that struggle to maintain their technological base may find themselves at a disadvantage, especially in conflicts that demand cutting-edge solutions. The rise of new technologies, such as advanced cybernetic augmentations or experimental weapons, could create opportunities for previously overlooked chapters to excel in areas where others falter. Recruitment practices are another area that could influence future strength. Chapters that draw from highly populated or particularly resilient worlds, or those that employ unique and effective training methods, are more likely to sustain their ranks and maintain high combat effectiveness. However, this advantage could diminish if those recruitment sources are compromised by environmental degradation, enemy incursions, or internal strife. Conversely, a chapter that discovers a new and untapped source of recruits with exceptional potential could see a dramatic improvement in its capabilities. The galaxy's political dynamics also play a significant role. Chapters that secure strong alliances with influential factions, such as the Inquisition or high-ranking Imperial officials, may gain access to resources and support that amplify their strength. However, reliance on such alliances can also create vulnerabilities, as shifting political priorities or betrayals could weaken a chapter's position. Chapters with a history of independence may find themselves better equipped to navigate these uncertainties. Unforeseen cataclysmic events, such as the loss of a chapter's homeworld or a major defeat, could dramatically reshape the balance of power. While such events might devastate a chapter in the short term, they could also act as catalysts for renewal, forcing them to adapt and evolve in ways that ultimately make them stronger. Alternatively, chapters that have grown complacent in their dominance may be ill-prepared for sudden challenges, leading to a decline in their influence and effectiveness. The psychological impact of being deemed the strongest chapter also warrants consideration. While this recognition can inspire loyalty and fear, it can also create a target for enemies seeking to disprove their dominance. Chapters placed in such a position may face unprecedented pressure to perform, and failure could have devastating consequences for their reputation and morale. On the other hand, chapters that have operated in the shadow of more celebrated counterparts might seize opportunities to prove their worth, leveraging underestimation to their advantage. In the long term, the very criteria used to evaluate strength may evolve. As the galaxy changes, the qualities valued by the Imperium may shift as well. Chapters that emphasize versatility and adaptability might rise to prominence, while those relying on traditional methods could struggle to keep pace. This fluidity ensures that the question of which chapter is the strongest will remain open, as new contexts and challenges continue to reshape the battlefield. Whether these changes lead to positive or negative outcomes depends on how the chapters adapt to their circumstances. Those that embrace innovation and learn from their experiences are more likely to thrive, while those that cling to outdated methods risk falling into obscurity. The future of the Adeptus Astartes is one of constant evolution, where the strongest chapter is not necessarily the one that dominates today, but the one that can endure and excel in the face of tomorrow's challenges. This uncertainty ensures that the debate over the strongest Space Marine chapter will persist, providing endless intrigue and speculation in the grim darkness of the far future.